This story right here literally almost went by me completely, and I noticed that it did because I don't think any of my subscribers told me about this. And I did a live stream on Sunday where I was addressing what Trump said about the Baltimore being infested and all types of stuff like that. This is Jared Kushner, son-in-law to Donald Trump and husband to Ivanka Trump. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because of basically a shithole, like you said, about various other countries around the world, specifically in Africa, and we know who that target was. But what he did not say, and this is where Jared Kushner comes in, is that those infested places in Baltimore are owned by Jared Kushner. You heard that correctly. Jared Kushner owns 9,000. Let me say that again. Jared Kushner owns 9,000 properties in the city of Baltimore, and all 9,000 of them are infested with mold, rodents, mice, and anything else under the sun that I can't think of at the moment, which will probably be listed in this article that I'm about to read to you. It says, 45 over the weekend unleashed a blistering rant about a rat and rodent infested Baltimore congressional district sliding into ruin, laying much of the blame at the feet of Representative Elijah Cummings, one of Trump's fiercest critics. 2 years ago, however, a lengthy investigation found that apartment complexes in the city owned by Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, had mice problems and other issues, according to residents. It is certainly ironic that the president's own son-in-law was complicit in contributing to some of the neglect that the president purports to be so concerned about, Baltimore County Executive John A. Olszewski Jr. told the Washington Post. Asked for comment about the previous reports on the problems with Kushner Properties, a company spokesperson told People in a brief statement, Kushner Companies is proud to own thousands of apartments in the Baltimore area. Substantial amounts are constantly reinvested in the properties to maintain a high-quality residential experience for our tenants. Some experience. I don't know many people that would want to live in those conditions, even those people who consider to be, I guess, in low-end portions or parts of any city. A White House spokesman for Kushner did not respond to a request for comment. Trump criticized Cummings on Twitter over several days beginning Saturday after Cummings assailed how border officials were treating migrants coming from Mexico. Trump contended that Democrats' district, which includes much of Baltimore, was considered the worst run and most dangerous in the U.S. and that no human being would ever want to live there. Now, I will say this, like I said in my live stream as I was critiquing Elijah Cummings, his concern should only be with Baltimore, since that is the district that he is the representative for. Why he's down at that border, I have no clue. But I'm actually glad that what I'm reading right here is coming out in the light, because it says a lot, but I'm gonna keep reading. Cumming district is a disgusting rat and rodent infested mess. I wonder how it got there, 45. If he spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this very dangerous and filthy place. You mean the same filthy and dangerous place that your son-in-law helped contribute to? In a later tweet, the president decried the crime rate in Baltimore as the fault of Cummings, a longtime congressman who does not run the city. Trump's comments were soon echoed by other conservatives and denounced by Baltimore officials and leading Democrats, and he was met with mild disapproval from some Republicans, including Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. Mr. President, I go home to my district daily, Cummings wrote on Twitter. Each morning I wake up and I go and fight for my neighbors. It is my constitutional duty to conduct oversight of the executive branch, but it is my moral duty to fight for my constituents. As noted by 538's Nate Silver and others, Cummings district has above average college education rate and home prices and is the second wealthiest majority black district in the country. Of course, the first is PG County, just in case y'all didn't know. Which, by the way, both PG County and this particular district in Baltimore are both in the same state. How about that? Many critics pointed to the coded language Trump used against a black congressman only weeks after he used the well-worn racist trope in telling 4 female progressive lawmakers of color to go back to their countries of origin, though all 4 are Americans. The reporting on Kushner's own buildings from 2017 by the New York Times and ProPublica resurfaced this week in the wake of Trump's tweets about Baltimore. Kushner, age 38, who was married to Trump's daughter Ivanka, was CEO of Kushner Company from 2008 to 2017 before he stepped down to join the White House and oversee broad policy portfolio, including peace negotiations in the Middle East and criminal justice reform. Well, that would explain why those properties that he owns are infested with this mess. Because when he decided to neglect that and then insert himself into the White House, he completely neglected the residents that were there, which means the upkeep pretty much went to shit. He still remains his ownership in Kushner Companies. However, the company, which is based in New York, owns nearly 9,000 rental units at 17 complexes in Maryland, most of them in Baltimore County. Still, the buildings have faced scrutiny in recent years, with the Times and ProPublica extensive report bringing to light residents' complaints of poorly maintained apartments. One resident told the outlet she found a mouse in her 12-year-old daughter's bed and that the rodent's droppings aggravated her toddler's asthma. Other complaints from the 2017 reporting, including a ceiling leak that led to a mold problem, a window shot out by a BB gun that took weeks to repair, and a loose plastic shutter that fell and hit a resident in the head. More still included a maggot infestation in a unit that also saw a raw sewage leaking from a kitchen sink. The company's chief financial officer told the outlet that at the time that Kushner Companies had spent $10 million on various upgrades, but that because of the age of the property issues still arose. Basically, they tried to put a band-aid on a flesh wound. Months after the report was first published 2 years ago, officials in Baltimore said Kushner's Companies had received more than 200 code violations in Baltimore County apartments over the span of 1 year. That is insanity. 200 code violations in a year? Some people don't even get 5 in a year. And you got 200. And I bet you he's not going to be held accountable for it at all. This is exactly why they did not put this out there. If they had put this out there, this could have completely shut 45 up just briefly, because you know he'll start talking again. He'll probably say that this was fake news. The company eventually made all but 9 of the necessary repairs after officials threatened fines and the withholding of rent. We expect all landlords to comply with the code requirements that protect the health and safety of their tenants, even if the landlord's father-in-law is the president of the United States. After a Kushner Company spokeswoman told The Sun in 2017 that the company was in compliance with all the state and local laws, I can't pronounce their last name. This person named Kevin K, fired back. It is a stretch of truth to assert that they are in compliance with all laws when more than 200 code violations were observed by our inspectors in just the past 10 months. Meanwhile, Kushner Companies has also come under fire for allegedly charging residents excessive fees and threatening evictions, prompting multiple lawsuits over the past 2 years. A Sun investigation in 2017 found that the company's controversial tactics had ultimately rewarded them $5.4 million in judgments against tenants who owed an average of $4,400. At the time, officials with the firm told The Sun that the threat of arrest was only used as a last resort and that it followed industry standards and state law, though the paper reported that 105 civil arrests of former tenants was more than any other landlord in the state over that time. Basically put, Jared Kushner is nothing more than a slumlord. He was in that position from 2008 to 2017, but the minute he was able to get in that White House, he completely abandoned what was supposed to be taken care of, and he and his constituents allowed this infestation to arise, and then expect them people to live in those conditions and pay to stay there. And if they didn't, they said that they were going to arrest him. You heard what I said at the end of the article. 105 civil arrests of former tenants, more than any other landlord in the state over that course of time, for something that was out of their control. See, when they put it out there, they made it seem like those residents chose to live in those conditions or that it's their fault, but they completely left out the one major key, and that is Jared Kushner, the son-in-law to the individual who made that very blasphemous statement. Mainstream media is going to try their best to keep this under wraps. Like, I don't expect them to give this entirely too much coverage. I really don't. So I'm going to need y'all to do as much as y'all possibly can to share this information with whoever, whenever, wherever. Because this definitely has to be put out there for mass consumption. Because at the end of the day, it's Jared Kushner's fault and everyone else who was involved with him with that company. They were supposed to be giving the tenants something. They were promised something. And he didn't deliver on it. And he completely abandoned it. Completely. Well, not completely, but almost. And I say almost because he still has his name attached to something that he might as well not, because he neglected it. It's almost like Rick the Snake Snyder, and he completely neglected those people in Flint with that water. And they're still going through it to this day. Just like the people in Baltimore are still going through it to this day because of what he did, but he completely removed himself from the situation. And I highly doubt that anything is going to happen to him because of who he is and who he's married to and who his father-in-law is. Jared Kushner will be protected. No doubt about it. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.